Ari.
Look who's here.
Great.
Artie, Abby, Diana, Seth, Rose. Oh, I did this
We're
real quick.
here.
Hello.
Sorry, I'm late. I had to come from work.
Oh my goodness. Oh, David needs a second. He was just in LAX traffic.
Oh
I mean,
God.
everyone send him your
You
love.
guys, don't move to Los Angeles because we have enough people here
Hi, Hunter.
with the traffic, so we don't need any more.
Oh, yes.
Oh.
Well. Oh, wait. Should we be professional?
Let's start.
Hi, I'm Sarah.
And I'm David. And we are talking about Survivor Island of the Idols.
Yes.
There's a lot to process.
But first.
Thank you for waiting for me.
Oh, boy. If you are new to our channel, please click subscribe and give this video a thumbs up.
And if you want to support us on Patreon, there's a link in the description. So there's a lot to process.
There has been a lot to process. We said that last week.
We did.
Okay, so we watch the shows together.
Yep.
And then we immediately record our videos
Right away.
afterwards. And so we were fresh. We were raw.
Ooh, feeling it.
We were in the pit of
On
it.
fire, yes.
And I think I said, I need time to process.
Yeah.
And I did. I had to process over the last, almost
Absolutely.
a week.
Yeah, we've processed a lot together in the comments section of the last video. Thank you guys for being so active in that thing.
Yes.
And there, have been some statements issued,
Right.
apologies posted.
Right.
We saw the Ponderosa segments with Kelly and Jamal, which didn't really delve into any of the issues that we were dealing with in the episodes. But things have been going on online since we've got some new sort of content to talk about.
Right. So
here.
there's clearly plenty to follow up on.
Yeah.
We want to touch base with you guys, see how you're processing.
Yeah.
And we also want to keep in mind that we all have different feelings and opinions.
Yes.
And this is a hot topic.
Yeah.
And we never declare that what we say is truth or fact or, we just express ourselves.
Our opinions.
And we want you guys to express yourselves
Yeah.
without attacking anybody else.
Right.
That was the one thing that CBS kind of put out there after all of this was, hey, don't bully each other online.
Oh, right. Yeah. That was the
was
Survivor
their takeaway.
Twitter, right?
Mhm,
Was hey, no anti-bullying.
Yeah.
2 tweets about that and nada
Not
else.
much else
Yeah.
about the show, which is
Right.
interesting. But we will, I agree, no being mean to other people.
Sure.
We were not there, so
Yeah, right.
we're just going to talk about it from a distance.
Yes,
Okay.
we've had a few days. So let's talk about, I think we should start with the player statements and apologies that were posted, right? I think Aaron's was first. He posted the video on Instagram.
First.
Yeah.
I sure did. If you haven't seen it, it's out there.
It's
Google
on
it.
his Instagram.
Oh, it's his Instagram?
Yeah, I'm sure you can find it in a number of places, but I believe he posted it on Instagram first.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a 3-minute apology. He gets emotional.
He does. He gets very teary.
I don't know if that has to do with feelings about what he saw in the episode or feelings about the response to him as an individual, because I assume that he took a lot of heat.
Yeah.
We gave him a little bit of heat in our interview or in our video last week, so I'm sure that he's gotten a lot of comments directed towards him. And what I thought was interesting on the Instagram specifically, he's got over 1,000, I don't know how many followers, 1,700 followers or something.
Mm-hmm.
5 comments. 5 comments on that video.
Oh, really?
All hearts. Big props to you for apologizing. They're all positive comments.
Did he remove all the rest?
I assume that he would have, because I think that there's probably a lot more negative comments that he was getting. I doubt he only got 5 positive comments on that apology video, so he's probably dealing with a lot right now.
Right. As he should.
Yeah.
Here's my overall thinking as we go through all of these statements and apologies. I'm covered in dog hair. Sorry, it's raining dog hair.
Floating through the air.
Yeah. It's one thing to be in it because you kind of have blinders on.
Mm-hmm.
This is what's happening. This is what you are aware of. And then you see a whole episode edited about it.
Yep.
And you see plenty more stuff that you didn't know about.
Yeah.
You hear yourself maybe in a way you didn't mean to say it or think about yourself,
Yes.
So in all of these, I think they all kind of went, oh, whoa, that was an episode. Because we were obviously all affected by this episode.
Of course.
They are going to be affected too. So he put out an apology, which, again, I will repeat what I said last week, is that if you actually say the words, I'm sorry, I'm going to give you credit for that.
Mm-hmm.
Whether I take it to the next step and really take that apology and move forward with it, that's a different story. But if you can at least step to the plate and say the words, I'm sorry, I am going to value that.
Mm-hmm.
So no matter what we feel about his tearful apology, at least he put it out there.
Yes. And, I think for Aaron, probably the most out of anybody, he's seeing things that he did not see.
Yeah.
Because clearly at Tribal Council, he was like, I didn't hear about anything. This is not real.
Right.
Then he sees this whole episode where everything is definitely real.
Yeah.
And he's like, whoa, okay, I had no idea what I was talking about. And I'm sure he watched it and was like, I look like such a jerk. Like, this is horrible.
Yeah.
So,
he had no idea lots of people were going to be like, mansplaining, get that guy! Like he just didn't expect that would be the response.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
I'm assuming.
Yeah.
So let me just read a little bit because his was a video. So he regrets what he said and is disappointed in himself.
Right.
He was out of line. He made a mistake. He takes responsibility for the words he said and is sorry.
Yes.
That was basically the highlight of his video apology.
Great. You know, like that. Well, again, like he says it. It's another thing to like accept that apology. That's another step further. But I agree with Sarah. Like, credit to you for at least saying something, because not everybody said something.
And promptly. I give him another credit for her being like first out. Being like, whoa, here we go.
Yikes. Yeah.
Okay, so Lauren put out a little apology as well. She said, I want to deeply apologize to all women.
All women.
And more specifically, Kelly and Janet. While I had my own experience and feelings towards Dan, I spoke with him and it stopped. While ignorance is not an excuse, after the merge, I did not know the full extent of Kelly's feelings.
Yeah.
What I took away from this is that she had spoken to him and it stopped. I am gathering all of the people who said they spoke to him because I feel like that's important for us to know. There has been discussion of like, well, Kelly was the only one upset by it. If multiple people say, well, I spoke to him, and Elizabeth said it as well, then that means that it, on some level, bothered them. Yeah. Because they had
a conversation about it.
So I do think that that is important for us to know that it was not just one person, multiple people.
Yes. And Elizabeth's statement was a little similar to that in terms of like, I didn't know the full story. I, didn't really know, fully how Kelly was feeling. I would have acted differently if I had had all of the information. Like, she's got a very long statement that she issued.
Yeah, I have it here. It's very long. I'm not going to read it all. But she does apologize, to Kelly. Then she apologizes to Janet. Like, it did seem like she was affected by this. And she says, to Dan and men everywhere, your reputation is never meant to be someone else's stepping stone. It's not a topic to joke about or to be used as a tactical play, and for that I apologize. And I think that's our biggest thing, right? Because we were shocked that she used that as gameplay.
Yes.
And that is her statement.
Yeah, and I think that issue is kind of specific to Elizabeth here because like Missy, Lauren, and Kelly all had kind of legitimate issues with Dan. And Elizabeth, it seemed, we were not there, we didn't see everything, but it seemed like Elizabeth really didn't have a problem with him and was just willing to say whatever she needed to say to kind of manipulate a vote. That's what we saw in the edit.
Right. We have to remember that this is all edit.
Yeah.
So, it's hard to know who really had an issue, who said what to who.
Right.
Because we don't have all of those scenes. And it does get a little muddy here.
Yeah,
Here's Missy's apology. I'd like to thank Kelly and Janet for being so courageous and leading by example. I became so caught up in gameplay that I did not realize a very serious situation, nor did I handle it with the care that it deserved. Yeah. Due to the nature of Survivor, I was viewing the game through a small lens and with a limited scope. I did not have all the information on the subject, and I made a game move that was unjust. To Kelly and Janet, I truly apologize. To all women, I genuinely apologize for my actions. This is a life-changing learning moment for me. Sexual assault is never to be taken lightly, and I'd like to apologize to any viewers that have been victimized. I do not take this issue lightly. I've done a lot of reflecting since the game and understand and accept the consequences of my lapse in judgment.
Yeah.
Sorry, Missy. So.
I mean, for all three of these apologies from the women, in particular, Missy, Elizabeth, and Lauren, like, well, with Elizabeth and Lauren, I tend to believe the sentiment of, like, I didn't know everything. And even I think a little bit Missy, because I think probably what touched these women the most, and everyone watching, myself included, was that confessional with Kelly, where she's crying and getting emotional, and the producer is feeling the need to, like, jump in and be like, if you don't feel safe, I can do something. That, I don't think Kelly showed to anybody in the game, because it's dangerous to really, like, show that much emotion, because that's, like, really putting yourself out there, being very vulnerable. So we didn't see Kelly cry to anybody individually in the game. The closest we got, I think, was the conversation between, Kelly and Janet, and also Kelly and Missy really had an in-depth conversation about how they felt about Dan. But maybe it happened off camera and they didn't show it in the show, but we never saw Kelly talk to Lauren directly about how she felt about Dan, and we never saw her talk to Elizabeth directly. So it's possible that they heard everything about Kelly secondhand and truly didn't fully comprehend how much it was affecting her personally. So I am, willing to believe them that they, didn't have the full story.
Mm-hmm. It's tough. It's really just tough. I went back and watched it again today, the whole episode.
God bless.
And because I just want to make sure I wasn't missing anything, because this is so big. And it just really, it hit me again when Missy sat down with Elizabeth and was like, here's the plan.
Yeah.
We have to play this up. This is our only play. So, yes, I believe that they had blinders on. They were in a game. All they were thinking about is saving their butts and winning this game. I totally understand that. But they did say the words. They said, we are going to play this up.
Yes.
So what more did they need to know? Did they need to literally see Kelly cry? Because they heard the words. So that part is a little more mucky and gray to me. But I now feel like I can keep watching the show. I am not like holding my torch and like yelling anti-Survivor. Like I have processed through this. I've heard their apologies. And so I personally am like, let's go.
Right.
We've heard zero from Dan.
Zero. I saw the Hollywood Reporter reached out to Dan for comment, nothing back. And honestly, I don't know if Dan would say anything that would be satisfying. So I think it's probably wise for him to...
I think he has to think about his job.
Silent. Yeah.
And I think that he probably did some PR already with his employees, his clients, like his company. And that's probably where his focus is. He's got to make sure that all of that is good. And I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to have complete radio silence.
Yes, it is. I mean, it's tough to read into nothing.
Yeah.
Like we just literally have nothing from Dan. So I don't know where his head's at. I don't know how focused he is on this. I'm sure he is focused on it. How could he not be? But we just don't know what's going on with Dan. We have seen from Kelly, from Janet, from Jamal, these statements about like forgiveness,
growth.
We've been dealing with this as a cast for months and talking about this and processing this and like, please no shaming, please no harassment. They have been very much like, give these people a break a little bit. And so seeing that stuff from them also helps me be like, okay, it's okay. If they can forgive, why can't I?
Right.
Because they were in it, and Kelly was the one, and Jamal too, who were directly affected, in these two particular episodes. So
as hard as all of this is to watch for us, I mean, we talk like we were in it.
I
we're
know,
like, this is so hard. Oh my God. Okay, they went through it.
Yes.
But for us to watch it, it's very difficult to see. But we talked about this with the Jamal Jack conversation of like, thank goodness they were able to talk about it so we can all learn from it. We can all grow from it. Jack definitely grew, and we can grow from it. And I feel like this huge because it's like blowing up left and right.
Yeah.
But hopefully many people can learn from this and grow from this.
Yes.
That's the upside here.
Yes. And I think we should talk about, too, how the show has handled it generally, because we've talked a lot about how the individual players have handled it.
Right.
You touched on the fact that, Survivor's official Twitter has only tweeted 2 things since the episode. Yeah. I saw 2 interviews with Jeff online, one with the Hollywood Reporter, one with Entertainment Weekly. It seemed like they were both conducted over email because a lot of the quotes from Jeff were very similar and communicated, if not, the same language verbatim, very similar language. So they clearly, obviously, like, CBS has to take this very seriously and have like a very coordinated PR effort.
Yeah.
But it just has not been a whole lot coming from the show.
I think this is an interesting question. I actually had dinner with friends over the weekend who are also Survivor fans. And the first thing they wanted to talk to me, they were like, oh my God, we got to talk Survivor. Like, they were so, like, upset and in it. Like, it's affecting everyone. And they both said to me, horrible. They need to learn how to do a reality show. Like, they just crapped the bed on this, the way they handled this. And I was kind of surprised by that because I think we come from a place of reality shows barely show us when things go wrong like this. And so the fact that they showed us kind of every angle, seemingly every angle, it wasn't just a one storyline. Yeah. Like, they could have picked a road and just gone with that one road and not given us all the side stories.
This is an edited show. They didn't have to show us this storyline.
So I kind of was giving Survivor credit for what they did show us, but then I was like, listening to Rob Has a Podcast and like reading the other people who cover Survivor, and a lot of them were like, what the heck? This is how you handled this? I mean, honestly, Survivor edited this show a while ago. It's been 7 months. They've been working on this episode. We know how much goes into putting the pieces together. This one group looks at the edit. They make tweaks. Then it goes to the executive producers. Yes. They put eyes on it.
Then
like
the network.
That goes up to CBS. Like, multiple people had put work into preparing this episode. They knew it was going to come out. Yeah. They could have had PR statements and things ready to go, but it seems like they were completely caught off guard that we all reacted the way that we did just by their silence. That's what I'm assuming, because they didn't seem like they had anything prepared. Or planned.
Yeah, I think they weren't. I think maybe they thought they, handled this in such an elegant way and really did things that we don't see a lot on Survivor, like that, black screen with the text where they're explaining everything that happened in these private meetings. We almost never hear the producers break the fourth wall and communicating with the contestants. Like, that was something we almost never see. So maybe they thought, like, we really did it differently. And like, we leaned in and, we didn't shy away from like showing these things. And there were, like we've talked about, there were some really great moments of like Jamal coming to, Kelly's defense and standing up to these men and Jeff confronting Dan and saying, I'm not dropping this. Like, there were a lot of good things in the episode, but it's still an episode that makes people feel gross. So, of course, that's going to be the fan reaction of, like, outcry, Yeah,
I do give credit to Survivor because they don't have 24/7 live feeds. Yeah. They could have left out any of that. Could have buried some of it. And I do feel like they gave us an interesting, like, it kind of is representative of what happens in the real life, right? They showed us a woman's complaint. Yeah. They showed us footage of the man being a bit handsy. Yeah. Then we see said man, being completely shocked that he could be at all possibly inappropriate. Yeah. We see other people on the side using this to their advantage and their own gains. We see someone else on the other side stepping up to do the right thing. We really kind of we saw a man calling a woman playing the victim role. Like, we saw every level that literally happens out in the real world can happen in like one office setting. And so I do give Survivor credit for showing us all of those elements and then kind of just handing it to us because we are the community.
We're kind of the jury. We get to
we get to say who's a villain, who's a hero, who we want to now root for and who we don't, you know?
And it's like kind of on the fandom to decide if Survivor handled it in a good or bad way, you know? I did find it interesting in Jeff's interviews, a few things that he brought up. One, that they considered letting Kelly speak. when she was, brought on to the jury. And that was like actually a conversation, because one of my issues was like, Kelly just has to sit here and listen to this conversation that is about her and just not say anything. Like, that's so difficult. So it was good to know that at least there was a conversation amongst, the staff of this show.
Right.
And they just ultimately decided to, honor the format of the show and only let the jury talk on day 39. And then I also thought it was interesting that, Jeff explained that they pulled contestants aside one by one. Everybody had an individual meeting, not just Dan. And a number of players knew that it was about Dan, even though the producers did not call Dan out in front of anybody. That is indicative of, like, people know what's going on here, even if they, like to pretend that they were not made uncomfortable by Dan.
Right.
And then lastly, that everyone was so tentative at the second tribal council where Jamal was voted out, because they all know tensions are high and nobody wanted to put their foot in their mouth, essentially.
Right. Well, one person wanted to put his foot in his mouth, and he did it. So nobody else wanted to do that after that. Yeah. Yeah. But I do, you know what? I do want to talk about game. Because you know what? There was some separate game. I also want to talk about the Ponderosa videos, because that actually made me feel better. Guys, if you didn't watch the Ponderosa videos, please go watch them.
Kelly was in good spirits.
She's such a positive individual.
She's probably like, I don't have to be around Dan anymore, so like, all good. Just forget about all that. Like, now I'm just with my friend Jack.
Yeah.
And like, I get to eat a burger.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Now, she might have been masking everything, but it made me just feel better to see her be like, oh my God, I'm hungry. Like, this is what I look like. Crazy. Yeah. She, like, the first thing she said to Jack was, I'm sorry, I got you out.
Yeah,
he didn't even know. They got to have that talk. So it did make me feel better. And of course, the other things that Kelly has said since of like, look, we're all going to move forward and grow from this.
Yeah.
So I'm taking her words at that. Also, Jamal and Jack are just like a cute little duo now.
Peas in a pod, really good friends. Like, Jack is like, I'm so happy that it's Kelly and Jamal, because like, I like them so much, and now I just get to like Ponderosa's gonna be lit, you know? Like, this is gonna be a great few weeks.
Jack is the best first juror, because he's like baking cookies for them, like when they show up.
Something different for everybody.
He's like so excited to greet them.
Yes.
He's really adorable.
Yeah, very adorable.
So go check those out. They'll make you feel better. They
absolutely will. But yeah, let's get in, because it all comes back to the game, right?
Oh, wait, before we go game, the name of the tribe. Did you see the secret scene?
Lumuwaku.
Okay, guys. Jack told a story about his dad. His dad passed away when Jack was 17, so sad right there. But his dad said, or when his dad traveled and stuff, they would say Lumuwaku, because it means love you, miss you, wanna kiss you. That's where we get the tribe name. It was so sweet, and there's a secret little clip out there where Janet is retelling it. And of course, she's teary because she's Janet. But yes, it's very, very
That's really
adorable.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Okay,
but yes.
Now we can get to game.
Because there were things going on here that were separate from the Dan situation.
Yes.
And like,
if we can throw that away for just a second.
Let's like dig into that a little bit, because I think there are reasons that Kelly's out, aside from, people decided that the Dan thing didn't matter and they just decided to get her out. Like,
there are some steps that got Kelly out.
She had 2 idols and she didn't play one. That's a big reason she's not in the game. That is
one reason. Look, it happens. You misjudge. You think you're safer than you are. And she has said, like, I questioned. I wasn't completely feeling confident and safe.
Yeah.
And she said that she based that on Lauren. Lauren previously had sort of worn her emotions out, and she could see when Lauren wasn't quite being truthful. So she said, Lauren, we're good, right? Like, she was checking in with Lauren, and Lauren played it off really well, and Kelly bought it.
Because Lauren was more in with Missy than she was with Kelly, but she was able to convince Kelly that everything's fine. But the first
problem with Kelly's game is when she told Tommy Missy's name.
Yeah.
I want Missy out. Missy is a threat. Missy's dangerous. I watched it again today.
Yeah.
And Tommy was like, why? Because you don't know her? And she was like, no, because she's dangerous. And she like listed off why she couldn't work with Missy. That was a lot of information to give to someone who just said that they wanted to work with that person.
Right. Who just told you, like, hey, come over and work with Vokai 2.0, which includes Missy. And then all of a sudden, Kelly's like, no, Missy's got to go. Well, that's maybe not the best game move there.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, Kelly misjudged that as well, of how close Tommy was with Missy.
Yeah.
But that was the first misstep.
Mm-hmm.
Then, as things are unfolding, she did not really push her agenda because she was like gearing for Missy, but she kind of let that go, right? And she just fell in line to go with this Dan vote.
Yeah.
And so that's the next misstep. Then Dean... I mean,
she made a huge mistake in saving Dean. I'm just going to say
I guess that was her first mistake.
She was like, I'm going to save this guy. And then, like, you know, she probably thought, like, we're going to be, like, a duo.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to go to the end together. And we're going to be totally honest with each other. Not so. She totally misjudged that situation because he felt no loyalty to her whatsoever.
You know what? I thought that was such a smart decision because I thought having a secret...
Right.
Do or die.
That's right.
Is great.
It's like a Christy and Tommy situation from BB21. Yeah. They knew each other, or at least knew of each other,
right,
pre-game, and nobody knew about that. And then she solidified that relationship by giving him the idol, but he was on a different page.
Yeah. So, yep, I guess that was a mistake because Dean was not to be trusted. I mean, what kind of person? Honestly, what kind of person?
I mean, yeah, honestly, it's a mistake in hindsight because she's out of the game.
Right.
But I really did think it was an amazing move at the time because, like, yeah, that's a great strategy. Because on every level, I would be on the same page as she was. Like, this is great. He's going to be on my side. Like, I don't think she had any reason to think, like, oh, I'm going to give this person an idol and then the next tribal council, he's going to turn around and stab me in the back and eliminate me. Like, wow.
He might just be a dodo bird. He's the one after the tribal and they came back. Dean's the one that was like, who was the other Jack vote?
Like, shut up. Why
would you say that?
Don't bring it up.
Wouldn't you ask Kelly? Like, if you really want to know, wouldn't you be like, Kelly, do you know who the other Jack vote was?
Yeah.
Why would you openly say that when you just were a part of a secret thing?
Oh my God, I know. Yeah, that was a mess, and I definitely think you're right that Dean is just like...
He might just be a dodo.
Yeah,
is he just not thinking things through?
I think he's just grasping at whatever.
I don't think it was a great game move. I don't think his game is going to be amazing now. I think that they're going to keep him around a little bit for numbers. Mm-hmm. Maybe he gets dragged to the end, but he ain't winning.
No.
And he's probably not really in the alliance.
No, he's definitely a number.
Missy, Tommy, Lauren, they're running the show.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, they're using people like Elaine and Dean for numbers. But Elaine and Dean...
Until they don't need them.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Because, like, it's interesting, too, you know, that they've eliminated 2 original Vocais right off the back at the merge.
Yes. We thought that was interesting. Yeah. Instead of going after Lyros, they went after the 2 Vokai that really seemed... useless to them or that they weren't going to be able to use.
Yeah, so like Janet better watch her back at this point because she's kind of one of the only original Vokai left who isn't in that like Vokai 2.0 alliance that includes Elizabeth and Missy and Aaron, you know, like so Janet's in trouble. Karishma clearly is in trouble always.
They're going to write her name down every single time as a backup.
Yeah, she's like an Angelina at this point, you know, they're just kind of always like a backup vote.
Right.
But will kind of probably survive unless someone, you know, has like a really great idol play or something.
Is there any hope for Janet?
She's got to find idols. I think she's got to find those idols because the relationship, like you said, it's rock solid. I think with Tommy and Aaron and Missy and Lauren, Janet can't really break that up. So what is she going to do? Rally a Dan, an Elaine, a Dean, like these people, it's kind of like that solid 4, and then everybody else is kind of like, you know, all over the place. I don't really see another really super solid group that could try to take power.
Real quick, so S. Dot just said, I don't blame Dean for his decision because whatsoever, get in where you can. And that would be true if he Well, here's my question back to you, I guess, is what would have hurt him to have told Kelly? Because he and Kelly had just done a secret thing, the tribal before. So if Dean had gone to Kelly and was like, look, on the down low, they're writing your name down. Like, I have to go with them. I have to do, like, he could have just told her. That would have given her the heads up to play an idol.
Right.
And no one would have known.
No one has to know.
Out of where he was.
Right.
He's still in with that majority group.
Yeah.
They're just being secret duo.
Right.
Like, that's all I'm expecting from him. Is just to give her a heads up. He doesn't have to go against them.
Yeah.
So he'd still be in whatsoever.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking, but please, if you are thinking something else, please let me know.
I mean, I definitely see your point of, like, Kelly was one person.
Yeah.
And Dean now is offered this opportunity to be in with a larger group. He's probably like, finally, like, I'm in on a vote. I'm in on a conversation. Like, I'm being looped in. I don't want to mess this up.
Yeah.
So, like, even if I'm on the bottom of this alliance, like, at least I'm in it and maybe I can somehow work my way up. I see your point there. But I don't really think that alliance feels any loyalty to him.
Right.
They're just using him for a number.
Right. Whereas Kelly proved that she has allegiances to him. So if she can keep him in... he can keep her in secretly, then that helps him in the long run.
Yeah.
That's what I would think is better for his game. Not to, like, fight against the group, Tommy and them.
Right.
But to just give Kelly a heads up.
Yeah.
And try to work with her.
Yeah. And he didn't know that he had an idol.
She had an idol, yeah.
Yeah, right, sorry. Right. He didn't know that she had an idol, so he didn't know if he gave her a heads up that she would be like, oh, well, don't worry about it, because, like, I'll be fine, know? But he still could have at least said, like, you gotta do something because people are writing your name down. Just a heads up, Yeah. There's nothing wrong with giving her a warning.
I mean, maybe he thought that he couldn't say anything without her blowing it up or blowing up his spot.
Sure.
That I can get.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe Tommy will protect him.
Yeah.
I just didn't buy it yet, but if Tommy does protect him, then it turns out to be a good game. I just thought I questioned his game choice.
Yeah. What else are they talking about in that chat? What's going on?
I'm going to go through chat. Also, Jamal. Of course, they're going to get Jamal out because they've been trying to get Jamal out since the beginning.
Yeah. And he would have killed in a final tribal situation. So, like, ultimately, that is a good move to get Jamal out. I'm just sad to see him go because, like, he really brought a very unique sort of perspective and personality to specifically this season. Like, just such a wise guy and so thoughtful. Not like wise guy, like, snarky or whatever, but, like, just very thoughtful and just had a lot of really great perspectives that we don't often see from, specifically men, on these issues like that he dealt with for the past couple of weeks. So I will definitely miss him. But if I were on that island, I'd be like, this guy is a good talker. I got to get him out of here because he is going to, like, wipe the floor with me in a final tribal situation. And
remember, wasn't it the first tribal or was it the second where he was like, I'm not playing in first gear. You have to play in first gear. He had, like, major ego that first time he went to tribal. And I was like, whoa, simmer down. So I think he had to, like, do some course correcting. And, I wasn't a fan earlier in the days. It was just because he was so well spoken that I became more of a fan.
Yeah, but it was only a matter of time. Like, he was on the outs, like you said, from the very beginning. Yeah. And, there was that whole scene where he's on the beach by himself and then he goes to find the idol. He did that because nobody on his tribe trusted him and wanted to talk to him. So...
And honestly, that Islands of the Idols thing really ruined it for him.
Oh, it did.
He wasn't sitting great already, but that did not help.
That was just like, okay, now we can finally get Jamal out. Because
what was Survivor doing... by basically just cursing someone?
Well, that's been kind of a theme all season. Like, the Island of the Idols turns out to be more of like Island of the Curses. It's not been great for people.
I mean, not all. Kelly handled it very well. She had that idol in her hair. That was amazing.
I mean, who's left that's been to Island of the Idols?
Well,
we've got Elizabeth and Elaine and Nora.
But she, like, publicly just messed it up and they were like, whatever, we're moving forward.
Yes, right.
Yeah, it wasn't a death sentence for everybody, but it definitely was for a few people. Vince, it was a death sentence.
Yeah.
Like, This one, he lost his vote automatically.
Yeah.
There was just no coming back from that. That was awful. If he had known, he'd have been like, Karishma, go right ahead.
Yes.
Your turn.
Yeah, right. Oh,
she was all
Karishma,
like,
did I hear you say you meant to grab that? Here you go. See you later.
Right? Yeah, we're getting some mixed views about things. Yeah, who are we rooting for is the thing. Corey said that she liked our outfit, so thank you for that.
I guess we're a little bit coordinating today.
We never do it on purpose, you guys. Never.
Honestly.
But yeah, I think Nora has moved up my list on who I root for.
Yeah, I have seen a lot. I see a little bit in the chat, and I've seen a lot online about that group of 5 that voted for Dan, of which now Kelly and Jamal is gone. But the remaining are Nora, Karishma, and Janet. So there's a lot of the Survivor fandom that is like latching onto those 3 because they're sort of viewed as this like troop of people who are willing to stand up, but like those 3 are all in danger.
No, they're all in danger, and that it was really those 3 are not necessarily who would stand up, it's who was left out of the plan. Yeah, right. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And so Janet, Nora, Karishma are in danger. I don't know where Elaine stands. She seems like she's kind of in that group, but she's OG Lyro.
Yeah.
So I don't know, if who's protecting her. I don't know.
Yeah, and we haven't seen, Elaine's been pretty quiet. We're fans. We loved her in the first few episodes, but she's been pretty quiet since, and we haven't seen a lot of her like developing really strong relationships with people. So I hope we get to see more, because I would love to sort of have a better picture of where she stands socially in the game and who she, potentially could sway her way.
Yeah. Because we honestly don't know if she's playing the game.
I know. It just seems like right now she's, surviving each vote only because she's not a target.
Hi, we got a super chat.
Hello.
Over here. Ocean Le. Can I be French about it?
Ocean Le.
Le. I'm going to be all international. Thank you.
Yeah.
We are adorable. Thank you.
Yes, thanks.
We're not. We don't know what we're doing. We're throwing ourselves together here. Thank you so much for that. Appreciate.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, you guys, I think we got through it.
We talked about it again.
We definitely are in a better place, so hopefully you guys are too.
Yeah.
We are gonna watch another episode. We are
That's
not
right.
giving
I'm
it
not
up.
giving up. No.
Josh Wigler.
And I'm also
giving it up.
Yeah. I know. Yeah. No,
but we are not gonna give it up.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also not like, oh my God, this is the best season ever anymore.
I started this season like, this cast is so good.
Amazing.
So many great players. And now I just kind of have a bad taste in my mouth for several of them.
I just want to see how things play out now.
Yeah.
Look, just so everybody knows, David's
I'm
blowing up
over here.
But also, these episodes are edited ahead of time. So don't expect much, if anything, in this next episode to
address what we've just seen.
We just went through.
Yeah.
Because it was already probably, unless there's a title card that's like, hey.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. We heard you.
Yeah.
Okay, we saw all the comments.
Yeah. But other than that, they're just going to move on with game.
Yeah.
And so just be prepared for that.
Right.
If you're still watching.
Yeah.
If you're not, still come back to us.
Yeah, still watch us. Please. Yeah.
So we have a little schedule change, right? We're going to be live on Thursday, correct?
Yeah, right.
We'll be back live on Thursday around the same time, 6:37 p.m. when David gets out of work.
Thank you.
To talk about the Wednesday episode.
Yes.
Cool?
Sound good? Please join us.
You guys, thank you for being here in the chat.
Yeah.
Thank you for the likes, the thumbs ups, and thanks for joining us again next time, right?
Thank you, and we'll see you on Thursday.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Oh, wait, another one.
Another one?
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. Thank you. One right in under the wire there.
He just...
Only Sarah?
I'm sorry, Ocean. I don't know.
Only Sarah.
Sorry, David. You're out.
I'm not fabulous anymore. Ugh.
Okay, but yes, group hug, Yesenia. Good idea.
Yes.
Group hug, we all did it. Hugs, but only with consent.
Right.
Not inappropriate touching.
Air hugs, unless you say it's okay to do a real hug.
Erica says, yeah. All right, you guys are the best.
Okay,
Thank you.
Good night. Bye. That's it. Bye. We're